Welcome to the Healing Journey with your host, Dr. Kate Oland. Join us for another episode where we create a safe space to engage in a vulnerable discussion that pertains to all aspects of healing. And now your host, Dr. Kate Oland.
Hello, listeners. This is Dr. Kate Oland, or Kato, as my friends call me. But I am here for our first episode of the Healing Journey. And I just want to take you on a brief trek on how I got inspired to host a podcast. So last year, I engaged in a conversation with my dear old friend, Dr. Kevin Penn. I was a guest on his podcast, The A and P Professor. That's A ampersand P Professor. And I had a blast on episode 152 talking about one of my favorite subjects, the fascial system. Now, I might be biased, but I think it was a very interesting episode, and it goes into a deep dive of how myofascial release, which is my area of expertise, can help to heal the body physically, right down to the cellular level. So, if you feel called to take a listen to that conversation where I talk about my favorite tissue, fascia, and I talk about applications in the therapeutic world, well, I will provide a link to that episode in the show notes. But I'm getting ahead of myself, and I don't want to get too hung up on all of that quite yet. Although I do suspect the Healing Journey will have an episode or 5 on how myofascial release could help you on your healing journey, as it's been a big part of mine. In fact, my professional journey of becoming a holistic physical therapist, coupled with teaching anatomy and physiology at the university level, well, it is also aligned with my own personal healing, physically, emotionally, spiritually, which is why I'm so excited to initiate this project, the Healing Journey. So the mission of the Healing Journey is to allow this platform to expand the discussion of healing, spiritual, physical, energetic, generational, emotional, religious, financial, political, and my favorite, sexual, and so much more. Yes, that's right. If you're my friend, you know we're going to talk about sex, and we're going to talk about it openly and without shame, because that's how it should be. But we will engage with professionals in the healing world, as well as allow individuals to be vulnerable with the audience and sharing their own path to healing. And I want to take a minute to own up to the fact that I don't think that my story is all that unique. I began attending John Barnes myofascial release classes about 5 years ago, and I have met many friends of fascia along the way, and I think it's very possible that this type of work naturally attracts therapists that are searching for healing themselves. When I attended my first class, that was back in the fall of 2020, it changed my life, both personally and professionally. What I learned and what I saw that weekend helped me to formulate the narrative that had been hiding in the depths of my mind for a long time, that I was not enough. That was the story I've been telling myself probably my whole life. And as you take this journey with me, we will explore many reasons why so many people tell themselves that they are not enough. But through the work I've done, guided by John Barnes and the community he's formed, and some incredible therapists, I am now of the opinion that I am enough. It's not that I'm not enough, but that society as a whole, as I formerly knew it, it was not enough for me. I needed to change my mindset one breath at a time. And this is where I started to explore what it means to heal. So let's talk about that for a minute. What do I mean when I say healing? Well, I am of the opinion that anytime we perceive stress, and when I say stress, I mean tension, anxiety, emotional and or physical discomfort, just to name a few perceptions. Anytime we have discomfort, I think it's very possible that we are in need of some form of healing. And it might be simple. Maybe you just need to take a deep breath, clear your mind, shake it off, and move on with your day. And that, my friends, is a form of healing. It can be that simple. But healing can also be horribly complex. I think that the most common form of complex healing involves healing the inner child, healing those wounds that were developed as we were at the most impressionable stages of our development. And these wounds can cause us to form habits that become so ingrained in our daily life, we can't decipher between our wounds and ourselves. And when I say ourselves, I mean our true inner authentic self. The self that stands alone and has influence from no other source. Can you picture that? Just being yourself with influence from nothing and no one else. Like a young child without a care in the world, exploring their environment. Just a few weeks ago, I observed this at a church function. There was a little boy about 3 years old. He was stomping around. He was all tangled up in this bouquet of balloons, but he didn't care. He was just playing and learning and excited to be there. He was surrounded by a loving community, and he was having a carefree moment. One of the goals of my healing journey has been to reconnect with the loving curiosity like that of a small child, fully in the present moment. And that little anecdote brings me to an important point, which is my faith. It has been a heavy source of healing for me over the years, and I want to acknowledge that I am still a Christian. Being a Christian has been a part of my healing. But lately I've been jokingly referring to myself as a recovered Catholic. I was raised Catholic, and although I was given many gifts by the Catholic Church, I also sustained some wounds along the way, primarily in the forms of judgment and shame. Now, I have landed in what I consider a safe space of a non-denominational, local, liberal Christian church. And I say this not that I want to recruit anyone, although all are welcome, but I don't want to defer anyone from any particular faith as well, okay? I just want to acknowledge that my faith is a thick lens through which I see the world, while also acknowledging that religion has a tendency to be divisive, especially more and more recently. Now, I don't want to lose any listeners at this point. It is early in my podcast career. So I do want to mention that although I am a Christian, I also believe in the healing powers of the universe. Now, some people refer to those healing powers as energy or astrology, Reiki, woo-woo, or there's even some people use this as a negative context of voodoo, which it did not start off negative in the beginning if you look at the history of that practice. But my opinion is that all of these forms of thought can be powerfully healing in nature. But it is my belief, I believe that healing powers come from the Lord or the Creator. Now, some of my atheist and my agnostic friends disagree with me, and I want you to know that that is okay. We are here to talk about different opinions without judgment or shame. Now, I hold space for all beliefs as long as they are not spreading hate or division. And as we continue the conversation of healing, I hope to take a deeper dive into some of these divisive issues in hopes that we can heal collectively. And the optimist in me hopes that this will help us create a more unified society. And now we have a message from one of our sponsors who's using their skills and talent to try to create a more unified society as well. One of my favorite forms of healing has occurred through music. I played the piano and violin as a child, but in my adult years, I seek out healing in the form of music created by others. Some of my most healing moments have occurred through the music of my favorite band, Carbon Leaf. Initially, I was attracted to the unique sound of folky Celtic rock, but as I allowed myself to become more immersed in their music, I found so much healing in their lyrics. It's as if they plucked the emotions out of my heart and spun them into melodies. I don't know how, but they know just how I feel. If you want to learn more about this grassroots band, you can check them out at carbonleaf.com or on the Carbon Leaf Facebook page. But if this sounds like a listening experience you want to explore, you can listen to them anywhere you stream your favorite music. Happy healing. So, welcome to the first episode of the healing journey, healing from food. As I was choosing the topic for my first few episodes, I wanted it to be a topic that could pertain to the masses as well as a topic that I was also very passionate about. Anyone who has ever known me has been made very well aware of the fact that food is very important to my daily life. It's been, at least a decade, maybe longer. Do you remember the Betty White Snickers bar commercial for the campaign, "You're Not You When You're Hungry"? It aired for the first time during the 2010 Super Bowl, and the next day, my colleague Kim informed me that she thought of me during that commercial. And my ex-husband used to say I was like the Hulk when I got hungry. And he wasn't completely wrong, at least not in this particular instance. But not only do I have a strong physiological response to hunger, but I also experience deep enjoyment from food as well. But my relationship with food has had a tumultuous past, a past that has reared its ugly head in my current day life. And now I want to give a disclaimer. I am about to start discussing my healing from an eating disorder, and I want to prepare any listeners who might get triggered by talking about such things. And if you are suffering or you think you might be suffering from an eating disorder, you can find resources in the episode notes or online at nationaleatingdisorders.org or by calling 1-800-931-2237. Now, this episode starts with this very serious topic, but later we will also be joined by a friend and my dentist. He's become my friend over the years while we discuss some of the issues that can come from healing from food. But I'm getting ahead of myself. At the end of last year, I had to have extensive dental work. I had to have 7 crowns from a dentist that I know, love, and trust. And his name is Dr. Ben Hite. And his office is right here in Edwardsville, Illinois. Now, he and his staff were wonderfully supportive to me as my anxiety was significantly triggered through this process, which forced me to recognize that the eating disorder that I suffered from in my teenage years, long before my brain was fully developed, well, it has caused lasting and permanent effects on my body. For several years as a teen, I participated in binging and purging, as well as some other self-harming behaviors. I had a warped sense of what I was supposed to look like, what I was supposed to be like as a young female, and I allowed that obsession of perception to consume me. And that led me down the road of being a bulimic teenager. And I've thought about it a lot over the years. It was a painful time in my life, and I think that behavior began as a way for me to feel like I had more control over my body, because I was in that time of life when I was desperately grasping for more autonomy. And I think that's why this behavior manifested in me. I believe that those painful years, coupled also with many years of excessive alcohol consumption in my young adulthood, well, they have contributed to the fact that my teeth were exposed to an acidic environment that took its toll over the years. And let me tell you, it has not been a cheap toll. As painful as it is for me to reflect on the person that I was at that time, I also believe that this is where my healing journey truly began. I somehow always seem to know or think that this would not be a behavior that I adopted permanently. And maybe I was just in denial. And actually, I don't remember exactly when the purging behavior of mine ended. It was before I left my parents' house to go to college, but around that time, I remember reading my first self-help book. It is titled Surviving Ophelia, and it really spoke to me. Even at that young age, I truly enjoyed how the author blended science with storytelling. It combined psychological research coupled with compelling personal narratives. Now, the book was published in the 90s when I was at the heart of my teenage adolescence. And I felt like I was reading about myself on those pages. And although it was written in that era, I believe that these issues are timeless. Body image issues, peer pressure, and mental health struggles, they all remain relevant today. So for me, that was the first time I began to see that there was a connection between how I felt and how I behaved. I want to repeat that. I recognized the connection between what I was feeling and how that contributed to my behavior. Now, I wasn't yet able to put those words onto it, but some reflection on how I was feeling 30 years ago. I was just realizing that strong connection between my emotions and behavior, and that there were issues in both my external and my internal environment that were predisposing me to some relatively seriously mental health conditions. And I think I was rare in the world of people affected by eating disorders. I overcame this particular behavior without the support of a professional. But it wasn't until I started therapy for the first time around age 25 or 26 that I truly began to explore some of those predisposed issues when I actively began to heal from my eating disorder. But healing is a journey, and as I mentioned, my current reality of needing that dental work caused me to once again reflect on some of my self-destructing times of life. And thinking about it is painful, but it's not as painful as it once was. Let me say that again. It's not as painful as it was in the beginning. Dealing with my shame with a professional for the first time was extremely painful on an emotional level. But I sought out support from my partner and my friends at that time, and that was a tremendous help to me during my first few months of getting some therapy. I also started speaking openly and honestly about my mood, that I would eventually realize that I suffered from moderate to severe anxiety. And when I finally accepted that diagnosis and started taking medicine that I resisted for years, I resisted. But when I finally broke down and started taking Zoloft, well, I felt like I was finally able to become the person I had been capable of being all along. for my whole life, for nearly 30 years, I had allowed the emotions of fear and shame to control my behavior, causing me to worry unnecessarily and behave erratically. And this behavior can sometimes be disorienting to those around me. And don't worry, I know, I'm still like that to a certain degree. My therapist assures me that some of these behaviors were learned so deeply throughout my development that they are somewhat a part of my personality, but like any human trait, personality can shift in time with intentional work. So, in this first episode of The Healing Journey, I am so excited to share with you the interview I did with the man who recently helped me heal from some of the physical damage my eating disorder inflicted on my body. In just a moment, you will hear from my dentist, Dr. Ben Hite, about how we have both tried to be intentional about the way we help others heal through our own private practice. But first, a message from one of our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Thrive Everywhere, a platform designed to make healthcare simple. With Thrive Everywhere, you can quickly find the right provider by searching by services, diagnoses, or specialty areas. And if you're a clinician, it's never been easier to build your practice and focus on what matters most, caring for your patients. Take the stress out of navigating healthcare. Coming soon, thriveeverywhere.com. Happy healing. Today on The Healing Journey, I want to welcome my friend and my dentist, Dr. Ben Hite. Ben, welcome to The Healing Journey.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. And over the years, we've had some interesting conversations, and I am really hopeful that we can relay some of these conversations to the audience so they can learn a little bit more about the differences between private practice dentistry and corporate dentistry. But before we get into all that, I like to start with asking people, where did you get your education?
A little fun fact. I actually spent 5 years in undergrad and I still don't have a bachelor's degree. So
What? How is that possible?
I went to a small school to play football in Kansas City, Liberty, Missouri, William Jewell. I was there for a year. So I was at Jewell for a year playing football, and I just, I just didn't love it anymore. So I wanted out. And then my dad is a lab technician. He had a small lab in the house. So I ended up going to Carbondale because they have a lab tech school there. And I did that for a year. And then I was like,
when you say lab tech, is that like a dental lab technician?
Yeah, a dental lab technician. So they was Crown and Bridge. So they made crowns for, various dentists around town. And I was just going to go to school and help him with that and be there with him. And then I did that for a year and I was like, I don't think this is it either. I'd rather be on the other side of dentistry being a doctor. So, I had junior level credits starting like freshman level biology. So I got into dental school before getting my bachelor's because I just got all my prerequisites done and got in. So I got to get out of there after 5 years and not get a bachelor's degree. So they called me actually and said, because a lot of my friends did like the 3 years and they got their bachelor's like the year after the first year of dental school. So I called after I was a doctor and I'm like, hey, what does it take to get my bachelor's degree from Carbondale? Like, well, you don't have botany. I'm like, so I was like, not happening. I'm not learning about plants.
Botany. I got you.
So yeah, it was I'm like, nope, not doing that. So yeah, all I have is a DMD. So
all you have is a doctorate. Yeah. All you have. Yes. Well, that's so crazy.
Not a lot of people can say it. I like saying it because it sounds hysterical, like I'm some moron or something. But no, it's just a winding journey.
It is a winding journey. And listen, I didn't realize you had all that uncertainty in your youth. And I teach undergrad anatomy and physiology, and I hope my students are listening. You started out on one track, you ended up on another, and sometimes that's the way it goes. I think there's so much pressure on young people to pick a track and stick with it. And then they almost feel like they fail when it doesn't happen the way they planned it. But man, some of the happiest professionals I know
Yeah.
had to kind of didn't go straight through, didn't go
Yeah.
on that straight
Yeah.
trajectory. So,
Yeah. I had
so
no
you,
idea. I thought I wanted to be a teacher and a football coach. So like,
yeah, a little different.
yeah, for sure.
That's funny because when I was little, I thought I wanted to be a teacher also, but in the healthcare profession, you and I are educating people.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
thank God I'm not in a classroom with kids. Like let's
Yeah.
just put it out there. I thought that's what I wanted. I mean, I am in a classroom with young adults and I do
Yeah.
love teaching
Those are
there,
kids
but
too.
yeah. So, well, so you got your you finished dental school.
It's SIU, Edwards. Oh, well,
Mhm.
it's in Alton, but
Yeah.
it's
And
up
then how
there.
many years is that?
That's 4 years.
4 years of dental school. And then when you come out, are you
Mhm.
it? That's it? You don't have to do practicals or like affiliates or anything. You just
No boards, and then
Mhm.
you're out on your own.
You're on your own. And what did you
You're ready
do
to go.
for your early career?
Well, I was gonna buy a practice right out of school, and I wasn't ready to do it, so I kind of didn't take that offer. And then I just found something kind of local. I worked in like a smaller like DSO for a
I'm sorry,
year.
a small what?
It's a what do you call it, like a dental service organization or something like that. So that's
Yeah.
a corporate dentistry, but a small
Okay.
one.
A small
So I did
corporate.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was, I would say, awful would be a great way to describe that. And then um
Why was it awful?
it just wasn't a great working environment. I wasn't doing the
Mhm.
type of dentistry I wanted to do. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
just, work as hard as you can on, yeah, it wasn't a great fit, for
Okay.
me. So
So where'd you go after that?
there's a lot of story there that we're not going to get into. So
Okay, maybe another episode. Next episode, we'll
yeah,
we'll dive
yeah.
into healing from
So
SDO.
yeah, DSO.
DSO,
So
sorry.
but yeah, so then I went to Heartland Dental. My dream was always to have my own practice, but I needed a job. So
hmm
well, I did have one stop somewhere else for like 2 months, but that was not good either. So
That's a blip.
I got into Heartland and I thought it was gonna be a quick stop, and they ended up being there 8 years. So,
And Heartland's
um,
considered corporate, isn't it?
oh yeah, yeah, they're
Yeah.
the biggest. They're the biggest DSO in the country, I do.
Well, and I think so. This is where I started to learn about dentistry. I was a young PT and I was going to a Heartland office, and
Mm-hmm.
actually, a newly retired dentist was my patient. And I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember his name to save my life, but I do remember talking to him about, like, I brush my teeth 3 times a day. I have a toothbrush at work. And I was fine 6 months ago. And now that I guess my treatment plan, they had all this work they wanted to do on my treatment plan. They had this,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I don't even know what it's called, Ben, the little thingy they tapped on my tooth and it was supposed to score my tooth about
Mm-hmm.
how strong
Okay.
it
Yeah.
was. What's that
Mm-hmm.
called? Do you,
I know what you're talking about. I don't use that.
okay, well,
I don't.
I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
good
like
because,
yeah, you get a number. Yeah,
yeah, they
it's
were grading my
it's like a
teeth
little
and
laser or something. Yeah.
yeah. And so they told me I needed to have all this work done. And I just
Mm-hmm.
it didn't sit right with me. And I talked to my patient
Mm-hmm.
about it. And he said, "Oh, you're at Heartland." And Kate, did you
Yeah.
know that those dentists, if they don't meet their quota, they get
Yeah.
fired? And I just thought
Mm-hmm.
that seems so unethical.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's I think you're gonna run into like all types of people in the corporate dentistry world. Like I didn't have a bad experience with Heartland. Like I always just wanted to do my own thing. So like um I think I did well enough there that they just kind of let me alone. Like I was never like a rah-rah. Like people get so excited about being a part of that,
Mhm.
and I was just like, I'm just not a corporate guy. So like, um, yes, I think there's definitely that, like the pressure to produce, and like
Yes.
there's shareholders, there's this, there's that. So um, it is like it's still like when you get down to it, like doctor specific on how they like respond to that. You know what I mean? So there's like a
hmm
lot of good people there too, but you just hear about it since it is like under that same umbrella of the kind of the nasty stuff sometimes too. So
Well, I
Me
was
too.
focused on the nasty stuff because I did not want to spend that kind of money. And I
Yeah.
got a second opinion from a private practice dentist who
Hmm.
said,
Yeah.
I think you have one tooth we need to keep an eye on, but I don't think you need to do anything right away. And I said,
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I learned from that experience. And then
Hmm.
flash forward about 10 years later, and
Hmm.
I was seeing Dr. Osika. And then
Hmm.
I remember, I think I saw him once or twice before you walked in, you bought his practice.
Yep.
Was this after Heartland?
2017. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I specifically worked like 45 minutes away, so I had no non-compete issues or anything like that. I always wanted to be like in town, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of had my eye on it for a long time. So
Yeah. So I think, Dr. Osika was incredible. When I moved to Edwardsville, that's who my partner sent me to, and he trusted him completely.
yeah.
And I remember being kind of bummed after just 2 visits. This new guy came in and told me I needed to have a crown. And I started to wonder if I was going to get my mouth overworked again. I had been at a corporate office and they were going
Hmm.
to overwork me. And then I came in to have said work done, and I'll never forget the look on your face. I was like, what is wrong with this dude? You were you were like leaning back, and I now in my mind's eye, you were like really thinking hard, and you went, I think I can give you a filling. I don't think you need to have this crown. And I was like, all right, that's it. This is my guy. You
Yeah.
stole my heart when you filled my cavity, man. I've never seen
Yeah.
another dentist again.
Yeah. So,
So,
I
I
mean,
mean,
I just like, I'm always gonna, I strive to always just do the right thing for that, the patient. It's just like,
yes.
I want to do what's right. That's kind of what I try to live my life by. That's how I practice, so I'm just, some things are not as black and white, and sometimes you can be fooled, so.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, you can. And, but when you're trying to do it right, I think often we get hard on ourselves,
Hmm. Oh
especially
yeah.
because sometimes we make mistakes too, right? It
Yeah.
happens, but not very
Yeah.
often. But
Human.
because we care, that is the difference.
Hmm.
Now,
Absolutely.
so you came and bought your own practice and you got into town. And
Hmm.
how did that process go for you?
I mean, I think Wally was great. I mean, so it was easy. Like we got along really well, and we kind of got it worked out, and it went pretty smoothly. Like I really wanted it. I think he got what he wanted out of it, and I thought, I think it was a pretty fair deal. So, you know, anytime you like buy something and you go into a team of, I think we had 7 people, like, they're having the same questions you did, like, oh, this guy came from Heartland, what's he gonna do? Like, who's he gonna be? And all these questions that they have that, how's he gonna change it? Is it gonna be better? Is it gonna be worse? Like you have to like kind of wade through all those waters and, get the team on your side. So I think I did a pretty good job of that. I mean, we still 4 or 5 people, I think, that were, with me 8 years ago. So
I was about to say, I think you brought the majority of your staff
yeah.
from the predecessor. A lot of those
Hmm.
people are still working with you, and I think that
Yeah.
speaks volumes.
Yeah, I think it does too. I mean, I really work on culture, and, you know, I always say Hite family dentistry is more about the family inside than it is the families that are coming in, like, because we're always going to treat those people the way they need to be treated. So, I just think when we're all working as a team, pulling together, like we can get a lot of things done.
Yeah. Well, so you got your private practice. What were some of the biggest differences between, you made that leap, and how did your practice change when you became the boss?
um, yeah, it's kind of like all on you, right? So it's you go from having a support organization that's gonna make you go to meetings and talk about your practice, and
Ugh,
they're
meetings.
going to show
Ugh.
you all the numbers and the P&Ls and this and that and profitability, and so it's like on one hand it's good, but then it's like, okay, I get it, I kind of want to
Yeah.
be left alone. And then on the other hand, it's like you get out and it's like, some of that stuff's like pretty important, so like,
Yeah.
like we got to keep the lights on here. So
Yeah.
you gotta like dive into the numbers of the business, and you gotta see how you're attracting patients, and you gotta see like, I went from 9 operatories with Heartland to 4 operatories with my new practice. So it's like, oh, I think this is gonna be so easy. Like, we only have 4 rooms. It can't be that hard. I mean, it was a lot of work. I think
Yeah, it is.
the smaller space made it like, well, we had a gigantic practice in a tiny building.
Yeah.
That's how I describe it. So it's like and I knew when I bought it, like I did not want to be there. Like I kind of like the nice shiny new things, and it was
Well, and
not
your
that.
office shows it. Your office is nice and shiny and so pretty.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time, a lot of work on it. I think it's different. Like I made it spacious and big. Like I didn't cram as many rooms in as I could for the square footage, and it was like all on purpose. So, you know, I really like how it turned out. Um, big differences would be like that, the numbers, and then you're the guy making all the calls. So that's, hiring, firing, which we don't do a lot of firing, but which is a good thing, I think. But
Yeah.
um
Do you have an office manager?
I do. Kendra, I hired Kendra. She started with me on day one. So
Yeah. Yeah.
she's still here. So
Yeah.
she's my right hand man. So I love Kendra. But
Right hand
yeah,
woman, I would say, as a
oh,
feminist.
he's interchangeable.
Okay. Let's, but well, so what I'm hearing though is that you came into your own practice and
hmm
you got to be intentional about
Yes.
everything, about the space, the
hmm
staff, the care.
Yes.
Man, that's a lot of energy to be intentional.
It is a lot of energy to be intentional. I think the other thing that kind of is like when you work for somebody and it's really just about it does seem like how can we just it's all about grow, 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 bottom line, bottom line, bottom line. It's all you
Hmm.
kind of hear about. But like when it's yours, it becomes like your baby, right? It's like you love it, you nurture it,
Yeah.
you want to protect it, like you want it to
Hmm.
be you start worrying about like your brand more, your how you're viewed in the community more. Like you just want to be there's just some switch that goes off as far as like I really want this to be yes financially successful, but also like known for the right things. There's a lot more like Heartland is like, yeah, I rent this building, I'm paying them this money, and it's like, well, now this is my building. Like, I need to take care of it. It needs to be
Hmm.
looking good. The chairs aren't good enough. This is it's like, and I have like I was talking to you earlier, like I'm not really on social media as far as like posting things, but I look and it's like I see all these dentists that are doing all these things. And I'm like, I'm just doing dental school dentistry, like because that's all I knew. That's all they really cared about. Like because you have to put like the investment is like education. Like so you gotta go way beyond what you learn in dental school to do the procedures that you want to do. Like you can't just go to school and think you're going to be doing full arch implants or full mouth rehabilitations with crown. Like you have to really dive in and you gotta love it. So it's like, you know, it's hard like from a corporate way because it's like you you buy technology, it's expensive. You go to class, it's expensive. So it's like
Hmm.
you don't see it's hard to like it's hard for yourself to justify it. It's also hard for the corporate to justify it because that's going to hurt that month or that year's profitability,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it's
Lately, I've
like
been, yep.
that's it.
Hmm.
So it's like I'm like I don't know. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on education.
Hmm.
Like
Yep.
like a corporate can't own that. Like I can own it. So it's like worth it to me.
Because it's
Um,
for you
it's
alone.
for me.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I spent the last 8 years just like enhancing my skills, learning more technology, like coming out of like a corporate setting. It's like they have a partnership with, this x-ray company, this composite company, so you're like limited on you're limited on what you can buy as far as like, I mean, you're getting a better price, but like you can only get this scanner. You can only get this whatever, X, Y, or Z. And then like you come out into this, it's like, oh, there's like 7 million different things and options that I have to like look into. It's like I've never even heard of like the biggest CBCT company in the world. Like, how did I miss this? It's like,
You were
you
busy in
know,
people's mouths, you were
busy
doing
in
the
people's
work.
mouths. Yeah, for sure. So that's kind of the, I don't know. That's the, I just think like when you own it, like I said, like it's my baby, and you want to
Yeah,
make sure it's done right.
absolutely. I've compared my own private practice. I tell people it's like having another child. It is.
Yeah.
Like literally, it's my baby. It's having another child. And just like in parenthood, there's always
Hmm.
more you could do.
Oh
But is
yeah.
it worth it? Is it like what it like? How do you
Yeah.
make those choices? And sometimes it's a leap of faith, and you're just
Oh
trying
yeah.
to make the right choice with the resources you have.
Yeah.
But now you were talking about going to classes, and I know there's been times you've been in class for like a week or two, or like weeks at a
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
Um, and is that where you're learning some of these more high tech techniques?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm in the, like I talked to you earlier, I'm in the 3D mastermind class. It's kind of based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And it's like,
That sounds like high tech.
it is, yeah. So everything's kind of digital. So if you come to the office, like we have all the, you're not getting the goop or anything in your mouth for sure. So, I
That's
mean,
right.
it's just, we just do it a lot. I want to be the tip of the spear as far as technology goes. So,
Yeah.
and I'm on the tippy top. So, which
Yeah,
is great. And it's frustrating, but I think like sometimes when you're like into this world, like the figuring it out and that irritation that you get when it doesn't go right is, it almost kind of fuels you, and it's maybe fun a little bit, which
oh
sounds
yeah,
bizarre, but like,
it's a
you know,
challenge.
it's a challenge. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I can get bored. So it's always, I really want to keep pushing myself to learn and grow. And,
Yeah.
if it's out there and it's great for the patient, like I want to learn it so I can offer it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, listen, not just the technology of what you're doing when you're working in people's mouths, but, I shared with our audience the story about how I had to have 7 crowns
Yeah.
and at the beginning of the year, which oh my gosh, I was such an anxious mess going into that.
Yeah.
First of all, I hate having work done in my mouth, but as a physical therapist and knowing I'm going to be in your chair, I think I was in that chair 6 hours or something silly like that.
Hmm.
But I was kind of worried about my body and my back and I came in, I looked like I was going
Yeah.
into battle. I had a neck pillow, I had a lumbar pillow. And you know what? I didn't need any of it because you put me in a freaking massage chair. Like
Yeah.
I was so comfortable. I didn't have any pain. I mean,
Hmm.
my mouth was a little sore, which is expected, but that
Yeah.
wasn't even that bad either. I mean, I felt like I was at a spa, like that dental
Yeah.
spa when I had that
Yeah.
treatment that day.
Did we sedate you?
That I was about to bring that up, and I think it's really important for the audience to know that I had a beautiful sedation that day. Susie held my hand literally and figuratively. She took such good
Yeah.
care of me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I felt like I took a little nap. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, that's like, I love the sedation. It's amazing. So
yeah,
it's a
no,
great
I had a
experience.
yeah, it was good for me. And I had to have a big job done in my mouth. But do you offer sedation for people who might have dental anxiety?
Yeah. I mean, that's why we do it. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
it's beneficial for me, but it's, mostly beneficial for the patient. Like you get to, we give a pill and then we hook you up to the IV, and then you're not really going to remember much. So it's a pretty relaxing, comfortable experience. So if you're
Yeah.
afraid of the needle, or you just don't like having your mouth open that long, or it's that sounds or whatever it is, that's your kind of, whatever's getting you, like we can work around it, because more than likely you're going to think you went to a nap, or it's like you've been there, like you said, you were here 6 hours. It's going to feel like you were there for 15 minutes, and you
Yep.
get to go home and take a big sleep. So
Yeah. I mean, I was so anxious coming into it. I think
hmm.
when they took my blood pressure for I don't know if you call it pre-op or the pre
Hmm.
whatever, my
Yeah, pretty good.
pre-appointment. Yeah. My blood
Hmm.
pressure was through the roof, which is not like me. I was so anxious,
Hmm.
but like everyone was so kind. They talked me down, gave me
Hmm.
the little happy pill to take an hour before I came in the office. I was fine. I
Yeah.
was fine. Yeah. Now, so I want to get back to, so I'm not real sure what it means to get a full arch. You're talking about getting a full arch and learning those new techniques. Can you tell me what that means?
Yeah, if you have like teeth that just have to go, so like, you know, I don't know how long ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, or whenever it was that we made the switch to doing these implants, would be like your indentures. So now we have an option where, we can remove the teeth that can't stay anymore. We take them all out, and then we can place, 4 to 6 implants, and we can walk out that day with something that's screwed down in place, and you got a brand new smile.
Yeah. And listen, I've never had to
Functional.
have
Looks great.
dentures or implants, but I worked in
Yeah.
healthcare for 20 years.
Yeah.
And some of my career was in home care. And y'all,
Hmm.
if you don't know someone who's had dentures, let me just tell you, it's no picnic. It is hard
No,
to
it's
get the
not.
right fit, the right glue
Yeah.
or whatever, and then it can
Yeah.
affect how you eat. So, I mean, if you
Hmm.
can avoid that, I mean, I'm not a dentist, but if a person can
Yeah.
avoid dentures, right? Is that what you would advise?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the closest thing you can get to having your natural teeth. I mean, your natural teeth are always going to be better, but I mean, as far as function goes, but
Hmm.
aesthetics and then function, I mean, you can't marry those two better than with the implants for sure.
Yeah. Excellent.
And
And I
these,
think,
like, yeah, it's just like in a day, you look a different person. It's
well, and I think,
amazing.
isn't it common? So you do this in your office, which I think is very comforting for people who have anxiety
Hmm.
about dental
Yeah.
procedures, because I think from what I've heard, like a lot of times people have to get referred out to get some of that work done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you don't offer that service, then you got to send them somewhere else. But I mean, like I said, I'm a kind of a CE junkie. So I mean, sedation was kind of all built around that. We place a ton of implants. I mean, it's really just, yeah, you take the classes, you learn it, you surround yourself with people that do it, and you always have.
Mhm.
3D's been great for me because like a lot of the big doctors that are in it are into the full arch kind of game, I would say. So like
Mhm.
they, if I ever run into something, like give them a call and you know how would you do this, or if it's pre-planning or if it's even in the middle of surgery, sometimes you're like, oh, what would be the best option here? Like I just have someone always to reach out to, so which is great.
So you're collaborating with the people you're learning alongside.
Correct.
Yeah, I love that. I love to hear that. And when you're talking
Yeah,
about
I mean, they're some
3D,
of my best friends. I love these people, so they
yeah,
like
and
changed my whole life, honestly. So
I know when I got into private practice, and I know you're not into social media, but I fortunately or unfortunately, maybe a little bit addicted to social media. I have a
hmm.
group of 10,000 myofascial release therapists that, if I have a
Hmm.
question, I can pop in there and usually get
Yeah.
more responses than I can handle, and having that
Hmm.
community of people who aren't complacent, who are passionate about what they do, it's a game changer, it really
For
is a game
sure.
changer. It's inspiring um, to do the best work we can do. So,
Yeah.
well, so from your perspective, what are some of the advantages or disadvantages of for a client looking at a corporate and or a private dental office?
I mean, it's very similar to what we said. I think like the biggest difference for me, and that's who I can talk to the most, would be like when it became, there was just a switch when it came from I work here to this is mine.
Hmm.
So I just think
Hmm.
like you're just going to get a different level of, you're going to get a different level of care. You're going to get a different level of feeling. And I think I talked to you earlier, like
Hmm.
the, the, the corporate dentists are going to be, they're going to have teams, they're going to have people out there, um, they're going to attract patients um, better than you can. They're going to get group pricing. They're going to get better prices on all your products better than you can. They're going to get better reimbursements than you can because it's all kind of grouped together. So like
Hmm.
you really have to like work on attracting people and you have to set yourself apart. So like that's where like the technology. If you come into my office, it's probably going to be different than any experience that you've had that you're just like I'm trying to differentiate myself. Like I don't have, like industry standards kind of like 45-minute hygiene appointments. I do an hour. I
Mm-hmm.
take
Mm-hmm.
2 hours on a new patient exam. It's because I want to have that time to, like, if you have something going on, I don't want it to feel rushed.
Yep.
I want it, time that we can sit there and talk and explain to you like what's going on. Like I want you to know, what you're getting into, like how many visits it's going to take, how many, what is the roadmap, how many times I got to be here, like what exactly are we doing, how much does it cost, how can I pay for it? And like that's where we get to answer all those questions that patients might have. So
Yeah. And that, when I was
and
going
it's
through
not
my
like just
process.
get it in front of them as fast as they can so they sign it so we can get it done. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's
And
not
listen,
how
let me
we
just
operate.
from experience, way before I even knew I was going to have a podcast and talk to you on the first episode of the podcast, when I was getting my work done, I was so impressed by the fact that I had a visit specifically to sit down and talk with someone in your office about all those things.
Mhm.
Okay, here's
Yeah.
what we have to do. Here's how you prep. Here's how much it's going to cost. Here's what it was just I
Mhm.
I was it impressed me to have a whole appointment to come in and just talk about
Mhm.
the plan. That
Yeah.
I'd never had that before. Now I've never had such a big job done before,
Yeah.
but it is. I was still anxious, but it helped calm that anxiety.
Yeah, it gives you a chance to answer the questions. Like it could be fear, it could be like, what the heck are we going to be doing? It could be, how am I going to pay for this? Or, it's just like all those things. And like that's the time we sit down and we can, we set a time for you that we can talk about all those things. So it hopefully
Mhm.
just, brings that person to like they just understand what they're getting into. Like I just want everyone to know, like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
hiding it. I'm not hiding it. It's like right here. This is it. This is the plan.
Mhm.
This is how much it costs. Like and like what I said earlier. Like we have 4 promises would be like what we're doing, how long it's going to take, how much does it cost, and how you can pay for it. Like, and that goes on our firm financial arrangements that we sign with you. And like if something changes, like we already discussed what it was going to be. Like I'm not charging you more for me making a mistake. This, you know
That's
what I
right.
mean? So like this
Yeah.
is the plan. This is what we agreed to. Like if
And
I
listen,
just
I
no, we need to
mistakes
do
don't happen.
now, it's like that's on me, not you. So
Yeah, and
I
listen,
hate the surprise thing. I don't like changing what we agreed on.
oh, I hate surprises just in general, but yeah, listen, mistakes don't happen often, but when they do and it's your own practice, man, it hurts my heart, I think, more than it
Oh,
can hurt the other person. And as much as
you have
hard as
no
it is to
idea.
yeah, well, right. Well,
Yeah,
yeah, it is it doesn't happen
yeah,
often, but we're gonna make it right. And I
yeah.
always tell my clients that
Always,
up front.
yeah, for
You
sure.
got to make it right.
No, I
So
always make it right.
that's right. So, we've been talking a lot about corporate versus private practice. What do you
Hmm.
see happening in the future of private practice dentists? These corporate offices are evolving, they have teams of people marketing for them. Do you
Hmm.
think private practice dentistry is going to continue to survive?
I definitely think it can. I think it's gonna be less and less, quite honestly, which is unfortunate. But I think, as long as the people that are doing it, like you have to evolve some. Like
Hmm.
the days of like not going out and like differentiating yourself from the pack is you're gonna get swallowed up.
Hmm.
That's my opinion. So if it's learning new skills or like if you're a single doctor and you want private practice to survive, like you better start getting like some of the new doctors that don't have any options into your office and giving them jobs and teaching them what to do because corporate's there waiting to give one. It's like,
Hmm.
like we gotta like really, if you don't want it to be all corporate, then you gotta start doing the things that, you know, help it stay. So like your hours need to be good. Um, you need to have availability, like all those things that, it might be great for you as a single doctor in your office. Like I'm always booked, I'm always this, like that's great, but is it helping the future of dentistry? Probably not. Like you need to be looking at those things, like
Hmm.
I have 2 associates, and it helps my hours, it helps my availability. I like mentoring them and teaching them and like all those things are come along with it. So That's how I see it. Like if you're not willing to change, then it's gonna be they'll just take them all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've talked about a lot of things today that, in the back of my mind, all these reasons for private practice is why I wanted to start this platform, Thrive Everywhere. I
Yeah.
want I want to support the private practice clinicians because I think
Hmm.
healthcare, dental care, it's health and wellness. I think when you have a private practice clinician, they got more skin in the game and they're going to give you all they got. And
100%.
it's different than some of the big box companies that are out there. Plus, if clients want to support local, this is keeping
Hmm.
healthcare local. There's a big drive to, shop local, stay local, and this
Hmm.
is a way to do it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I'm hopeful to, overarching goal, help spotlight some private practice clinicians. I'm excited to have you on our first episode, one of my favorite private
Well, thank
practice
you.
clinicians. Yeah,
I appreciate that.
we covered quite a bit of ground, I think, in the less
I
than a
think
half an
so.
hour, which was the goal. That was the goal.
Yeah.
So, well, Ben, we didn't solve the world's problems today, but we certainly
We
started the
came close.
well, we started the conversation. We started the conversation, and I do hope that our listeners learned something today, and they might learn a
Yeah.
little bit about how to better take care of their teeth and their mouth and their mental health by finding
Yeah.
the right dentist.
That's right.
So, Dr.
We're
Ben
out there.
Hite, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much. It was fun. Thank you for having me
Thank you.
on your
All
on your
right.
first episode. I feel very privileged.
My very first episode. I hope it turns out well. And we're going to, in the show notes, if anyone listening locally wants to find Dr. Ben Hite, check out the show notes. We'll have a link to his office. So, all right, Ben, thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Healing Journey with your host, Dr. Kate Oland. We hope you enjoyed the experience. Please make sure to follow the show so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And until next time, don't forget to take care of yourself.